Hello everyone, and welcome to this video where I'll be reading through part of the OpenStax.org textbook called Prealgebra, second edition. In particular, I'm going to be reading through part of section 1.2 called Add Whole Numbers, and the part of this section, the heading, Add Whole Numbers in Applications. All right, so here we are at OpenStax.org, Prealgebra second edition. Section 1.2, add whole numbers, and the heading, add whole numbers in applications. So now that we have practiced adding whole numbers, let's use what we've learned to solve real-world problems. We'll start by outlining a plan. First, we need to read the problem to determine what we are looking for. Then, we write a word phrase that gives the information to find it. Next, we translate the word phrase into math notation and then simplify. Finally, we write a sentence to answer the question. So I'll be going through these steps in example 1.24. So again, sorry about the pronunciation of this, but the name here looks like How. Earned grades of 87, 93, 68, 95, and 89 on the 5 tests of the semester. What is the total number of points he earned on the 5 tests? All right, so that was first, right? We read the problem, and then you got to determine what they're looking for. All right. So I'm going to go to some paper. It's example 1.24. So what are they looking for in this problem? Okay, they're looking for, the question was, what is the total number of points he earned on the 5 tests, right? The total number of points earned on the 5 tests. Okay. The key word here is total, all right? You may recall from the previous video when we were translating phrases to math, typically when you see the word total or total of, total number of, that meant you were taking a sum, right? You were adding. That's this whole section, right? The title of the section is Add Whole Numbers. All right, so we read the problem, determine what we're looking for. Then we write a word phrase that gives the information to find it. Well, the total number of points is the sum of these numbers here. So I'll write that out in words. I'm not going to do that for every single one of these problems, at least for this first one. So a phrase, right, some word phrase that gives what's being asked for up here, along with the information involved, the information that's related, the total number of points on the 5 tests, the total is the sum of the scores on the 5 tests, right? The scores were 87, 93, 68, 95, and 89. Right? So again, total, sum, total number of points, sum adding, we are adding here. Right, then it says we translate the word phrase into math notation. Okay, so I'm going to take what I described here with this information, translate into math notation. All right, so how do we represent a sum or a total? And that's just with the plus signs, right? The total of all these scores is 87 plus 93 plus 68 plus 95 plus 89. That is the total or the sum of all 5 of these scores. All right, then on the next page, we're going to do the final thing is, actually simplify. All right, it says translate the word phrase into math notation and then simplify. What is this total? What is this sum? Now, from earlier in the section, you saw, this sum has 5 different addends, right? 5 things, 5 numbers being added together. Now you could stack all 5 of them, lining up the correct digits in the correct decimal places. So I could just stack them all up. 87 plus 93 plus 68 plus 95 and then plus 89, where, all the ones digits are lined up and all the tens digits are lined up. And then we add all of them at once like this. Or you could do 2 at a time. We'll start with the first 2 scores. I take 87 and then add to that 93, lining up, ones and tens digits, things in the same place value. Adding up, starting with the ones digits, right? 7 plus 3 is 10, which is, 0 ones and a 10. And I carry that 1 10 to the tens place. And then I add up the tens digits, 1 plus 8 is 9. 9 plus 9 is 18. So that's 8 tens and 100, which there's no other hundred, so I'll just put the 1 here. All right, so the sum of these first two is 180. And then we add the third score, which is 68. So again, ones digit, 0 plus 8 is just 8. Tens, 8 plus 6 is 14, so that's 4, carry the 1. And then hundreds, 1 plus 1 is 2. So we have 248 after adding the first 3 scores. And then I add the fourth score, all right, plus 95. Again, starting with the ones digit, 8 plus 5 is 13. So that's 3 in the ones and then carry a 1 in the 10. And then 1 plus 4 is 5. 5 plus 9 is 14. So that's 4 in the tens, carry a 1 in the 100. And then 1 plus 2 is 3 in the 100. So that's 343. And that's adding 1, 2, 3, 4. That's adding those first 4 scores. And then finally, we add the last score, 89. It's lining up, the place values, right? And the correct digits in the correct place values. Starting with the ones, 3 plus 9 is 12. So that's, 2 in the ones, carry 1 in the tens. Add the tens. 1 plus 4 is 5. 5 plus 8 is 13. So 3 in the tens, carry a 1 in the hundreds, and 1 plus 3 is 4. So there's our total. The total of all 5 scores, test scores, is 432. So this is, 2 at a time over here, 2 at a time, which is totally fine. All right, it just takes a little more writing. You're adding, 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 adding. Now we could do all at once as well. All right, where I just stack all 5 scores up. You just have to know how to add, larger numbers. When I'm doing 2 at a time, the highest any sum is going to get in any place value is 9 plus 9, right, which is 18. But when you add more than 2 add-ins, you might have 5 nines here, which would add up to 45, right? So you would have to know how to add larger numbers, larger amounts of numbers. But you'll see I end up with the same results. So I'm going to do the same thing where I add all the test scores at once, going down the ones digit. 7 plus 3 is 10. 10 plus 8 is 18. 18 plus 5 is 23. And 23 plus 9 is 32. Right, so I put a 2 in the ones place, and it was 32, right? So I'm carrying 3 tens. 3 in the tens place. And then down the tens place, these digits, 3 that I carried. 3 plus 8 is 11. Then plus 9 is 20. Plus 6 is 26. 26 plus 9 is 35. And 35 plus 8 is 43, right? So I got 3 here, carry the 4 in the hundreds place. And I get exactly the same thing that I got when I added 2 at a time. And, you should, right? No matter how you add the same numbers, you should end up with the same result. Now, the nice thing about 2 at a time, and I've mentioned this in a previous video, when you're adding just 2 add-ins at a time, Mm. The largest number you're going to carry is a 1. But, when you add more than 2 add-ins, you might be carrying numbers larger than 1. Like here, I carried a 3 because the sum of the ones digits was 32. So just be aware of that. All right, so that was the simplify part. And then finally, the last part of the first paragraph, right? Finally, we write a sentence to answer the question. So the answer to their question, right, answer, said, what is the total number of points he earned in the 5 tests? He, how, his name, you could put he, and they did say he, right? So he earned a total of 432 points on the 5 tests. Right, and there is a nice complete sentence that that answers the question. I'll box that in. Now they may have worded it differently than I did, but it's still a complete sentence. You've got a subject, a verb, right? That answers the question they asked. All right, now being an example, we can just see the solution right here, view it. Say I write a phrase, right? The sum of the points on the tests is what they were looking for. Translate to math, right? We wrote the sum with the plus signs of all 5 of those scores. Simplify by adding. Now they did the one that I showed you where they stack them all up and do it all at once. So you see the carrying of the 3 there. And then finally write a sentence to answer the question. And they wrote, how the person's name earned a total of 432 points. Right. And then they say at the bottom, notice that we added points, the word points. All right, so the sum is 432 points. It is very important. I know that they didn't say very, but I'm saying very. It is very important to include the appropriate units in all answers to applications problems, word problems. Because when you put a name after the units, it gives the number meaning, right? He earned 432 what? He earned 432 points on these tests, right? So adding units is very important when you're answering questions in application problems or word problems because they give the numbers meaning. All right, great. All right, so we're asked to do something similar to example 1.24 in these try it problems. I've said this in previous videos as well. I highly recommend that you pause the video and try these, try it problems yourself first before you watch me do them. And then come back, watch me do them, or check the answer in the answer key in the table, in the text, and see how you're doing. Right? See how well you're picking up the material. Because if you're just watching me do these things and not putting in any work or effort yourself, not writing things out yourself, there's a good chance that you're not going to pick up the material as well as you'd like. All right. So try it 1.47. So Mark is training for a bicycle race. Last week, he rode 18 miles on Monday, 15 miles on Wednesday, 26 miles on Friday, 49 miles on Saturday, and 32 miles on Sunday. What is the total number of miles he rode last week? Okay. All right, so this is try it 1.47. So again, what they want is the total number of miles Mark rode last week. That's in the question. And then there's the key words here, total number of miles. We're going to add up then, right? Total implies sum, addition. We're going to add up those numbers of miles that were mentioned in the problem. So there were 18 miles. So here comes the translate to math part. 18 miles on Monday. Add to that the 15 miles on Wednesday. We're going to add to that plus the 26 miles on Friday. Add to that the 49 miles on Saturday. And finally, the last number mentioned, add the 32 miles he rode on Sunday. So once again, like in the previous example, there are, 5 different add-ins. All right, now you can stack them up again, 8, or just you can leave them like this or stack them up. I'll do the stacking where we line up, digits in the correct place values and the same place values. So 18 plus 15 plus 26 plus 49 plus 32. All right, and I'll just do it all at once. Again, you can do it 2 at a time. I'll just do it all at once. All right, so adding up the ones digits, 8 plus 5 is 13. 13 plus 6 is 19. 19 plus 9 is 28. And then 28 plus 2 is 30. So you have 0 in the ones, and then I'm going to carry 3 in the tens. That is 30. All right, then the tens. 3 plus 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5, plus 2 is 7, plus 4 is 11, plus 3 is 14. So that's 4 in the tens, 1 in the hundreds, and there are no hundreds. So 140 is the sum of all these mileages. And so the answer to the question, it says, what is the total number of miles he rode last week? He rode 140 miles last week. Right, a nice full sentence, complete sentence that answers the question. Once again, I'll point out, put units after your numbers to give them meaning. Right? He wrote 140. 140 what? 140 miles. Right, 140 miles. All right, now with the try it problems, you've seen this too in previous videos, hopefully. You can go to the table of contents, and at the very bottom, you should see an answer key. We are in chapter 1, and we're in the try it problems, not the be prepared problems, right? So this is try it 1.47. He rode 140 miles. Right? I wrote last week because that was part of the question, but that is a complete sentence. He rode 140 miles. And that's exactly what I had. Excellent. All right, then you can click on the number. In the answer key, it takes you right back to the reading. All right, great. All right, so next problem. Another try it, right? Try it 1.48. So Lincoln Middle School has 3 grades. The number of students in each grade is 230, 165, and 325. So what is the total number of students at Lincoln Middle School? All right, so this is try at 1.48. So again, in words, what the question is asking for is, the total number of students at this middle school. So again, the word total is there, implying that we're going to be taking a sum, right? Adding. And it said there were 3 grades, and the number of students in each grade was the following, right? There were so I'll be taking 230 students from from one grade, and I'll just stack them up right now, plus the 165 students from another grade, and finally from that 3rd grade, the third group of students, 325, right? Now I'm just going to stack them up where we line up all the correct decimal places, so the place values, and then we'll add them up. Starting from the ones, 0 plus 5 is 5, 5 plus 5 is 10, so that's 0 in the ones, carry a 1 in the 10. Then add the tens digits, 1 plus 3 is 4, 4 plus 6 is 10, plus 2 is 12, so that's 2 in the tens, then carry a 1 in the hundreds, and then add the hundreds. 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 1 is 4, plus 3 is 7. So there we go. Right, there are 720 students. So if I'm writing a full sentence, I would say Lincoln Middle School has 720 students. And please put the word, students after the number. Put units, attach units to these numbers in application problems or word problems to give the numbers meaning. Now if I go and check, right, never hurts to check the answers. So back to the table of contents, answer key, chapter 1, try at 1.48. So yeah, they're just saying the total number is 720 students, right? So I put Lincoln Middle School has 720 students, same thing. Great. All right, then back to the reading. So then after try at 1.48, we have a paragraph. So some application problems involve shapes. For example, a person might need to know the distance around a garden to put up a fence or around a picture to frame it. The perimeter is the distance around a geometric figure. The perimeter of a figure is the sum of the lengths of its side. Right, that's the perimeter. So in example 1.25, we're asked to find the perimeter of the patio shown. So here is a little drawing of a patio that has this geometric shape, this polygon shape. And they point out the lengths of all the sides in feet. So we have a length of 4 feet on the left side here, then the bottom is 6 feet. Then this arrow is pointing to this little length of 2 feet, then another length to the right of 3 feet, and then up 2 feet. And then the top length is 9 feet. All right, so the perimeter, again, is the sum of the lengths of the sides. So we're going to be adding, summing, totaling all these lengths up. All right, so this is, again, example 1.25. So they want, they say find the perimeter, right, perimeter of the patio. And once again, the perimeter, when you see the key, this is a very key word. The word perimeter means the sum of the lengths of the sides. It's the distance around the figure. So the sum, let's translate that to math. Well, and I'll stack them. So again, I started on the far left side there. We had that one length that was 4 feet plus, then the bottom length was 6 feet plus then the length with the little arrow pointing to it I showed, again, I'm not going back to the picture, but there was a 2-foot length plus a 3-foot length plus another 2-foot length. And then finally that length on the top was 9 feet. Okay, so they all have the same units, right? All of these were in feet. Right, you got to be careful with stuff like that, um, especially when it comes to perimeter and adding lengths. They all have the same units, right? They all have units of feet. Now, if some were given in feet and some were given in inches, you would have to do some sort of unit conversion, which I don't believe we're going to be getting into right just yet. But that is important. When you are adding, all add-ins should have the same unit. So all the numbers you're adding, all the add-ins must have the same unit. All right, so we saw that actually in the previous examples. I just didn't point that out. The one with the students, it was students plus students plus students. And the example before that, it was miles, the number of miles biked by Mark in that one problem. So it was miles plus miles plus miles plus miles plus miles. And then the test scores was points plus points plus points plus points plus points, right? So every single add-in, every number we were adding had the same units, right? That is very important. That's very important. All right, so just stacked up here, very simply add them up. 4 plus 6 is 10, 10 plus 2 is 12, plus 3 is 15, plus 2 is 17, plus 9 would be 26. Right. So again, this is all going to be in feet. So to answer the question, the perimeter is 26 feet. Right. Or the perimeter of the patio is 26 feet. But that's how I'm answering this question. All right, we'll check it out. So again, perimeter, sum of the sides, right? In math notation with all the sums, the pluses, those simplify, add up to be 26, and a sentence to answer the question, the perimeter of the patio is 26 feet. All right, great. All right, and some very similar problems after this, a couple more try it, where we're asked for perimeter. All right, so try it 1.49. Once again, we're asked to find the perimeter of the following figure. So we're given this shape with all these numbers all around it for the lengths of the sides. And they're telling us all lengths are in inches. So I have 9 inches, a 4-inch side, a 3-inch, 2-inch, 3-inch, 2-inch, 3-inch, and 4-inch. All right, so we're going to add all of those up. All right, so this is try it 1.49. So once again, we're asked for perimeter of the figure. And we see the word perimeter, that is key. What does perimeter mean, right? This is the distance around the shape, the sum of all the side lengths. When I translate this to math, I'll write it long ways because there's a lot of them. We had, 9 inches, and they were all in inches, right? These are all in inches, they told us. Again, they gotta all be the same units when we're adding them. So we had a 9-inch length plus a 4-inch length plus a 3-inch plus 2 inches plus 3 inches plus 2 inches plus 3 inches and then plus 4 inches, right? So there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sides to this shape, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 sides. Right. All right, so then we simplify. So I'll just say it out loud here. 9 plus 4 is 13, plus 3 is 16, plus 2 is 18, plus 3 is 21, plus 2 is 23, plus 3 is 26, and then finally plus 4 is 30. All right. So that's our sum of all the side lengths, and they were in inches. So our final answer, the sentence to answer the question, say what they want. The perimeter of this figure is 30 inches. And that's my final response. All right, let's check it out. I'll go table of contents again, chapter 1, try it problems. Try at 1.49, the perimeter is 30 inches. Exactly what I wrote that time. Fantastic. Okay, and then the final problem, the final try it problem here before we get to the section 1.2 exercises that I'll do in a future video. Try at 1.50, another, perimeter of a figure. So find the perimeter of the figure. And once again, all lengths are in inches. So there's 12 inches plus 2 inches, 4 inches, 2 inches, 4 inches, 2 inches, 4 inches, and 6 inches, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Another 8-sided figure. But we're still asked for the same thing. We're asked to do the same stuff here, right? Find the perimeter. Try at 1.50. Again, we're asked for the perimeter of the figure. And this will be in inches. I'll just put that in parentheses. I know all the lengths are in inches, right? Again, all the add-ins, all the things you're adding up must have the same units. So keyword perimeter. Once again, this means the distance around the figure, the sum of all the side lengths. And when I say sum, we can easily translate it now to an addition problem. So starting from the top side, there was a 12 inches plus 2 inches plus 4 inches plus 2 inches plus 4 inches plus 2 inches plus 4 inches. And then finally, on the right side of the figure, there was a 6-inch length plus 6 inches for the eight add ends, 8 side lengths we're adding up here. All right, and then we'll simplify. Again, I'm just going to say this out loud, one at a time. 12 plus 2 is 14, plus 4 is 18, plus 2 is 20, plus 4 is 24, plus 2 is 26, plus 4 is 30, and then plus 6 is 36. All right, so 36 inches is the perimeter, and that's what I'll write for my final sentence to answer the question, say what they wanted. All right, the perimeter of the figure is, or just the perimeter is, 36 inches. Box that in. That's my final response. And we'll check it out. All right, again, going back to the Chapter 1 answer key, try at 1.50. And I am seeing the perimeter is 36 inches. Fantastic. And then I go back to the reading, and the final thing in the reading is actually a thing I'll let you check out. There's just links to videos that I'm not going to watch here with you, right? These are just for your own benefit. So at the bottom of the section before the exercises, we have a media box to access additional online resources. And these are links to other sites, other videos where you're adding they show you how to add 2-digit numbers with base 10 blocks, how to add 3-digit numbers with base 10 blocks, and then another video on just another resource on adding whole numbers. So I suggest you check those out, take notes, follow along. Hopefully those help you out as well. All right. So that's it for this video. The next video I put out will be starting the section 1.2 exercises, back to using addition notation. And thank you very much for watching.